So, Cathie Woods just sold $98 million worth of Tesla stock. Tesla has recently been green 12 trading days in a row. But you're also at a moment in time where Tesla is far off of all-time highs. There's a lot of fundamental positives that have happened with Tesla recently that really justifies a rally potentially over $300 per share here in the short term. You're also within hours of the next CPI report, which has implications for future Fed policy, for where interest rates go, recession, no recession, lots of implications, specifically that affect Tesla. And based off of what we've seen in the markets today, stocks ripped. It looks like CPI was leaked somewhere. That's how aggressive the last hour and a half of trading was in the S&P as well as the NASDAQ. So why did Cathie sell almost $100 million worth of Tesla stock? And what stock did she buy instead? Is this really something you should think about? Is this a problem? Does Cathie Woods know something that we don't? I think this is very imperative that if you are a Tesla shareholder or you are trading Tesla in the short term, that you pay attention to this video a little bit more carefully, because there's going to be a lot of people that are going to spread false information on this topic. So let's get into it. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, but most importantly, source your comments, questions, or concerns down below in the comment section. If I missed something that should have been in this video, let me know about it. If there is something that you think is important, right? If you have an opinion on this or what's going on with Tesla, let me know down below in the comment section. That is your place to do so, and it makes us all better investors. So getting straight into it, Cathie Wood sold $98 million worth of Tesla shares. Now, keep this in mind. Cathie was buying Tesla the whole time it was going down in the low hundreds. And Cathie Wood's ETF, the ARK Innovation, and all of the other ETFs are actively managed ETFs. So they buy in, they sell out on a day-by-day basis. That's the luxury of being an actively managed ETF. So consider this throughout the video. They're sitting on big profits, and they can get in and out of these positions on an any-day basis. It could be tomorrow. She could buy $300 million worth of Tesla. So consider that. Just keep that in the back of your mind. Now, this one's laughable. This one is laughable. Instead, she bought $47 million worth of Meta, which I find the trade-off here really irrelevant. And why I say that is because Tesla is in such a better position than Meta. I don't think Cathie was cognitively saying, hey, I'm going to sell Tesla because I think Meta is going to have a better return. No, she's trading this. Although some people are going to paint the picture of she's dumping Tesla and she's buying Meta. That is absolutely the farthest thing from the truth. That's the last picture that I would try to paint to you guys based off of this latest move from Cathie Woods. Now, if you consider the actual dollar amounts here, I think that could be important to point out, because she sold $98 million worth of Tesla. She bought $47 million worth of Meta. So that means all in all, she's got about $45 million of kind of a net sell from that Tesla sell, right? Now, why do I think that's semi-important? Well, if you look at the ARK Innovation ETF, I have this going back to January 1st, 2021 until today. And I have this on a monthly chart here. So you've seen a lot of inflows in the beginning of 2021. That's obvious. 2021, great year for inflows to Cathie Woods. Same story in the first half of 2022. And then that kind of changed in the second half of 2022. Obviously, as people were getting fearful. Well, 2023, you've actually seen a lot of inflows relative to inflows for Cathie. And just since really April, in April, I should say, you've seen $230 million worth of outflows. In the month of May, you've seen 184 million in inflows. So upside down about 50 million in the last 3 months, from April to May. And then so far in June, you've seen outflows of $184 million. So you've seen total outflows for ARK Innovation excess of $220 million. So when you look at the actual holdings of Cathie Wood, the 28 holdings that they currently own, Tesla is by far the largest holding. It's almost double the second highest holding, which is Roku. Now, even after today's sell of almost $100 million worth of Tesla, ARK Invest still owns over $1 billion in Tesla stock. So they sold a little bit over 8% of their total Tesla position. But keep in mind, Tesla is the most overbought stock on the NASDAQ. Tesla is more overbought than Nvidia. Now, that doesn't mean Tesla has to come down. That means it's likely to trade sideways or to see an up and down kind of motion, to experience more volatility. This just shows you Tesla's been going straight up. That's it. That's all it shows you. Keep in mind, ARK is an actively managed ETF. So if they think, hey, we can do a trade here, we could sell out now, wait for volatility, maybe pick up stock in the 240 range or 235 range if CPI negatively affects the markets, and just buy back in. A trade like that with hundreds of millions of dollars is different than someone just randomly selling Tesla. If you or me sold Tesla, it's not going to make sense to sell a couple thousand shares most of the time and try to trade a couple dollars. But if it's Cathie, right, and you're managing a $1 billion position in Tesla, that could make sense, especially with the kind of redemptions that you are seeing. Now, this to me is no indication that Tesla is about to plummet by any means, but I do think it's possible the stock trades sideways, trades up or down a couple dollars from here, especially heading into tomorrow's CPI report. And that's something that you guys should be very familiar with my stance on if you've watched any of these videos. Now, back to the inflows and outflows. I think this is also very important to keep in mind. What's the date today? It's June 12th. You're heading into the end of Q2, which means that's where you get the most redemptions, is at the end of quarters. That's where you do see portfolio rebalancing the most that it typically happens is at the end of quarters. That's where you get portfolio rebalancing. For the most part, they can obviously rebalance any portfolio anytime they want, but it typically happens at the end of quarters. You typically have to meet your redemption request at the end of quarters. And it's not like Cathie's seen a bunch of inflows recently. I mean, besides for March, where they've seen 177.6 million in inflows, and besides for May, when they've seen 184 million in inflows, every other month going back to November was negative. And in November of 2022, they only seen inflows of 13 million. They've seen a lot more outflows than inflows. Specifically for 2023, since January 1st until today, ARK Innovation has seen $228 million worth of outflows. At the same time, ARK Innovation is up 29% year to date. That means their ETF has done well. It's done exceptionally well. 29% is great for an ETF, but they've also seen a lot of redemptions. So when they're trying to choose what to sell out to kind of meet some of these redemptions, if you look at their holdings, Tesla is the only thing that really makes sense based off of their profitability stance, what trades they are most profitable in. If you look at Roku, Zoom, UiPath, Block, Coinbase, none of these, which are their other largest holdings, have done to the nearest extent what Tesla has done. Roku is probably the best performing one, and Roku has really not done much as well since February of 2023. It's been trading in between the 60 and 50, high 50s to $60 range most of the time. Only recently has it actually started to move a little bit higher here. If you look at Zoom, which I have in the top left corner, it's done nothing in 2023. If you look at UiPath as well, really done nothing comparatively to Tesla in 2023. If you look at Square, which I'll move over here, it's literally done nothing. It's actually, went down quite a bit since the start of 2023. Whereas if you look at a Tesla, and it's seen such a strong rally at the same time Cathie was buying shares in this range as the stock was falling to the $100 level, what would you do as an actively managed ETF? When you're seeing redemptions, what are you going to reduce your positioning in? I mean, you're going to reduce positioning in stocks that have had historical rallies. And I think that's all that this is. I think once volatility hits and once, Tesla does start to move a lot up or down, that's when Cathie's going to buy in. Again, after redemptions are met as well, probably towards the end of this quarter, could be in a couple days she buys in, could be tomorrow she buys in. That's the beautiful thing about actively managed ETFs. And if you guys have watched some of my videos, then you know this line right here, this downtrending level of resistance, Tesla broke that. And that's sitting at about $225 per share. So any downside from here, that's likely where you find support. Now, I don't think that's going to happen, but if CPI were to be very negative tomorrow, sure. Could it happen? Absolutely. Could Tesla trade sideways from here? Absolutely. That's actually what I expect at some point. Sure, it could go straight to 300, 315, or 350, but odds are it does trade sideways or go up a little bit from here and trade sideways. Wouldn't surprise me to see Cathie just trying to make a short-term trade, meet redemptions, so on and so forth. That would explain them selling 8% of their Tesla position. So before you hear people that spread false information, keep all of these things in mind. This really doesn't mean much, in my personal opinion, for Tesla and this rally, or how Cathie is looking at her Tesla position. And I most certainly don't think that she is all of a sudden getting bearish on Tesla and getting bullish on Meta, in which this article kind of paints that picture. So that is it for this video. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you want to make money, if you want to grow your net worth, if you want to reach financial freedom, and you want to stay up to date with the markets. This is the place to be. We cover everything Tesla stock as well as the broad markets to keep you informed on everything that's going on, the bigger picture. You guys enjoy the rest of your night, and I will see you in the morning.